to my channel. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is just another update on the camper. I installed new GFCI outlet, removed the old shelving paper off the storage shelf, getting ready to test fit the new panel on the new stereo we're going to be installing today. Alright, what I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to be putting these 6.5-inch waterproof pile speakers in. The pile speakers come with a guide. You need a 5 3/4-inch hole to mount the speakers. I'm going to be mounting them there and there. I got myself a 5 3/4-inch hole saw, so I'm kind of cheating, but this is the easy way to do it. I'm going to go ahead and use that. I'm going to be measuring out roughly where I want the speakers to be on both sides with this so they're even. Alright, so we're about 15 inches high, so I'm going to go somewhere in the middle here. There's 7.5. So I'm going to be roughly somewhere there from up and down. That'll be our center. And of course we'll try to do this. Let me see. How far in do we want to go with this? I'm going to say maybe somewhere right there, 5 inches. See how the speaker would actually look. Would that be in the center? That's what the speaker looks like. That'd be about center right there for that speaker. I think that's a good spot. Let's go ahead and cut that out with the hole saw. Not too bad of a job. Got to do the other side, and I'll get the other side measured out, but that's about the size of the hole we need for that speaker. All right, these seem to fit perfect in the hole. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and get it kind of centered and lined up. I'm going to go ahead and put the screws in now just to make sure everything is where I want it to be, and we'll go do the same thing on the other side. All right, I think I did a decent job. Looks pretty even to me. Got them lined up pretty even. Now I got to try and run some wire to it, and of course I got to get the head unit in there. All right, for this next part, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the ready to install the head unit into the front panel before I paint it. I've already traced the inside of this piece here, and I used a marker and everything, got it lined up the best I could where I want to put it. I made sure it's not going to hit where the front tire, the spare tire is actually cut out in there. I want to get all this stuff prepped. Of course I got my wire getting ready to go on that. But what I'm using is a knife. I'm sure there's probably an easy way if you had like a jigsaw or something to work with that. But I'm trying to take my time. Got a fresh blade on there. Get all the prep work done. And I'm going to get ready to paint this after that part. Alright folks, I got the hole cut out. Now basically I just need to do some fine tuning. This will almost go through. What I think I'm going to do now is just take a file and just kind of clean up some of these edges a little bit. Is once I get it painted and everything, I'll have these tabs bent up to kind of hold it in there so it doesn't come out. And of course the wiring harnesses, I'll have everything plugged in, painted, and put together before I even install this panel. But let's go ahead and take this out, and I'm going to start painting. All right everybody, I'm at the next phase of putting this stereo in, working on the camper here. I ran my speaker wires. This was a pretty easy job for this side, left side. I just ran it behind that new panel. I drilled a tiny little hole in that corner. Even though this panel moves, I just won't want it to pinch on that wire too much. And I got the wire here, plenty of extra wire. I just have to terminate the end. This side was a little bit more difficult. What I end up doing is I drilled a little hole there. And of course I tacked it up with wire strips there. Ran it underneath this door sill, another little hole there, and like I said, plenty of extra wire here. I just have to terminate the wire now and connect it to the speakers. All right, now that the speakers are hooked up to the wire, I got to go ahead and wire up the head unit to the speaker wires. I'm only doing 2 speakers, so I'm going to be using the rear speaker mounts for now. I got green for left, purple for right, and of course they're both marked, one, you know, negative, positive, obviously. All right, now I got the speaker wires all connected. Like I said, I'm not using these. These would be if I was running 4 speakers. I'm actually using the rear connections on this stereo for now. This wire was very thin. They sent, it's like 18 gauge wire, and I'm trying to connect it to 12 gauge speaker wire. Kind of made it a pain in the butt, but I think I got everything pretty secure now. So now I got to go ahead and run the power connection to the battery. In the previous video, like I stated, these wires actually came off. They come right off the 12 volt battery I connected. These were for the propane leak detector. Since there's no propane inside this camper anymore, I didn't want to use them. I'm going to go ahead and clean these connections up and run the power to the stereo to those connections. All right, I got these connected. Yellow and red are both positive. The yellow is a permanent power just for memory and stuff. And red is normally what would go to like your ignition on your car. But since this is a camper with no ignition, I went ahead and put those together so they both have power. Obviously, I'm going to have to make sure that I turn the stereo on and off when I'm not using it so it doesn't drain the battery. But we do have the solar setup, which should keep power. And I really don't think this system's going to use a lot of power to begin with. So, and of course, blue would be for a power antenna, which obviously the camper doesn't have. It just has a regular antenna that I stuck to the outside of the camper. I got heat shrink tubing here. I got temporary connections plugged together. Before I go ahead and heat shrink these to seal them up, I'm going to go ahead and push it into the back of the stereo now and see how it works. All right, I plugged both parts into the back of the unit. I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to hook the negative wire up. Everything else is connected, ready to go though. Let's see what happens. All right, camper's not on fire yet. Let's turn this thing on. See what happens. Do we have power? Nothing is happening. All right, cool. Let me check everything out. All right, everybody. For some reason, I'm not able to run this radio off those power wires that come from the battery. And if you remember correctly, those were for the propane leak detectors. And it comes right off the battery. I've checked all the outlets and everything. Or checked all the fuses. Everything works. I actually tested the radio out on the battery in the scout shed. It powered right up as soon as I touched the positive and negatives together on the battery out there. So must be something in line with those wires that maybe they just don't have enough power coming through. They're pretty heavy duty wires though. And it actually, there was power going to the radio because there's a little LED red light behind the knob that powered up, but for some reason I couldn't turn it on. So I guess I'm going to have to run separate wires to the batteries with an inline fuse and everything right to the battery. You know, you kind of learn as you do this stuff, I guess. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever done this, but we're figuring it out. We're getting there. Alright folks, I ended up running a new power line out to the battery. I had a piece of wire left over from when I did the solar panel on the scout shed. It's a 12 gauge power wire, 12 volt. Actually connected everything. Anyway, I don't want to get copyright, so we got power. I'm going to show you what I did on the outside. I ended up just running a wire out through. I ran it across the front frame here. I got a 15 amp inline fuse holder that I connected and heat wrapped it, all connected to the battery. Didn't have to change the ground wire. This system worked out pretty good, so now I just got to clean everything up and mount the panel inside. All right, everybody, I got the panel in. Stereo's working just fine. Sounds pretty good. I think these speakers will have a little bit more bass once I get the cushions done, put back on. Not a bad job. Only had one little hiccup on it, but now I'm just going to do a third final paint touch up, and probably in the next video I'm going to start recovering the seats and laying down the flooring. Check out the other two videos. I'm probably going to have one more video for the year, and maybe I'll do a live stream out here. I don't know. Winter's coming though, and I got to go to a wedding today, so I got to finish up here. Bye for now.